What's up, my friend? Abby here, and welcome back to Writer's Life Wednesdays, where we come together to help you make your story matter and make your author dreams come true. Do you feel unmotivated to write? Totally drained of energy and inspiration? Maybe you've even made time in your schedule to write and everything seems to be going smoothly, but then when you actually sit down at your laptop and you're ready to have a productive session, you're just not feeling it. The creativity isn't there. The energy, the inspiration, the passion, it's just gone. This can be a scary feeling. Sometimes it even spirals into a thought loop of self-doubt and feeling like,
oh my gosh, what if I'm an imposter? What if I've never been able to write well? Because a good writer should be able to write anytime, any place, and I can't write now, so what am I even?
I know the feeling, and trust me when I say it does not make you an imposter. Just the opposite. Every writer on the planet has felt this way at one time or another. Last week we covered the topic of making time to write, but what if you make time and sit down to write and you still can't motivate yourself to do it? That's what this video is all about. Today I am sharing with you my tried and true techniques for staying motivated and writing your story even when you don't feel like it.
Why does your story matter? Good question. What if I told you that there's a science behind every great story? I don't just teach you how to write. I teach you how to change the world with your story and make your author dreams come true.
When you don't feel like writing, write anyway. It's really as simple as that, but I understand that motivation is a complex thing. It's something that every human being is capable of, and yet we collectively spend millions of dollars and thousands of hours every year trying to get motivated. Why? Because our brains are hardwired to avoid pain. All lack of motivation boils down to a simple rule of psychology: pain versus pain. To put it simply, you never do the harder thing. Ever. Even when you think you're doing the harder thing, you're actually not. What you're doing is you're rewriting the definition of pain in your mind. Let me give you an example. Studies show that tax day is one of the most stressful days of the year for most people. Why is that? Because most people procrastinate doing their taxes until the last possible moment. Why is that? Because taxes are not fun. Could you do your taxes way ahead of time and skip that stress in April? Yeah. So why not do it early when there is no immediate consequence to not doing it? Because there's no immediate consequence to not doing it. The human brain is really not that complicated. We are hardwired to avoid pain because that instinct keeps us safe and alive, but also prevents us from having motivation to do something painful. We make every decision based on the fundamental comparison of pain versus pain. Whatever is the least painful option, we go with that. Every time. And if you ever catch yourself going with the more painful option, what you've actually done is rewritten the definition of pain in your mind and told yourself that not doing this thing will be more painful. So how does this relate to writing? You might be listening to me right now thinking,
Abby, I enjoy writing, it's not painful.
And yeah, that may be true, but for some reason you need motivation to actually dedicate yourself to this writing project. Maybe it's not necessarily painful, but it is a challenge. And that's why you have to start hacking your brain. It's the only thing standing in your way. You can do this a few different ways. One of my favorite ways to motivate myself is to set a deadline to accomplish a certain step of the process by. Whether it's by the end of the month, I'm going to finish this stage of revisions, or it's by the end of the year, I'm going to publish this novel, or even a smaller goal like by next Saturday, I'm going to write 4 chapters of this novel. There's nothing like a ticking clock to push you forward, especially if you have an accountability partner who also knows about this ticking clock and is checking in with you to make sure you're making progress. That's another motivator I would highly recommend. Get a trusted friend or writing partner to keep in touch with you and lovingly motivate you and encourage you to stay on track with your goals. I'm not talking about announcing your deadlines and goals on social media and using that as accountability. That will not work. I'm talking about finding a close friend, a trusted friend who genuinely cares about you and wants to see you succeed and wants to see you make progress. Somebody who can check in and help you make progress on your goals. If it's fear and self-doubt and that imposter syndrome that's holding you back from feeling motivated to write, then definitely check out this podcast that I recently did with my sister, all about overcoming self-doubt and finding the confidence to create. Now, if you do all these things, you rewrite the definition of pain in your mind, you set attainable deadlines and goals, you get yourself an accountability partner, and you still struggle to stay motivated and stay dedicated to your writing project, let me share with you my 4 favorite hacks for staying focused. Number 1, limit phone and internet access. The best way to stay focused is to eliminate as many distractions as possible. Once you have carved out writing time for yourself, don't let anything else steal that time from you. Ask a family member to hold on to your phone for a few hours while you write, and use an app limiter like Downtime for Mac to prevent you from getting distracted on the internet. And at the very least, if you need to have your phone nearby on your desk or something, have a sticky note on the back that says, "Keep writing." And then every time you go to reach for it, you're reminded to keep writing. Number 2 focus hack, mood playlists and immersive writing sessions. Nothing gets me in the writing mood like the right kind of music, whether it's instrumental, lyrical, a playlist that I've made, or just playlists that I come across that remind me of my story. I usually start by making 2 playlists for every work in progress. One is a soundtrack playlist that's like instrumental music that I actually listen to while I'm writing, and the other playlist is lyrical music that reminds me of the book, but I might not listen to it while I'm writing because sometimes lyrical music is distracting to me. But those are my go-to playlists for every writing project. And also every month on my channel, I post a new immersive writing session, and these are 2-hour writing sessions that have built-in writing sprints, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and each one is a new setting, a different theme and mood with background music and an ambient soundscape. And that leads me to my 3rd focus hack, which is writing sprints. Some people love them, some people hate them, but you gotta admit, nothing spurs you into action like a ticking clock. Writing sprints are fantastic because they force you to stay focused and write forward, even just for a small block of time, like 25 minutes, 15 minutes, but it helps you to stay focused on the next sentence and not go back and start editing yourself, editing what you've just written and getting stuck. I love doing writing sprints with you guys on my monthly Write With Me live streams as well, and we have one of those coming up next week, so stay tuned for that. And number 4 focus hack, shift into a creative mindset. This hack is especially helpful if you work a job all day and then come home to your writing time in the evening. Sometimes it can be tricky to shift your brain from work mode to writing mode, which is why I like to bridge this gap by doing something creative and mindful, something intuitive that gets me out of that business, work, task list mindset and more in a free flow of creative thought. So this could be a brisk walk, a yoga practice, spending some time outside, even just taking a break to do a 10-minute meditation. The goal is to tap into that inner sense of peace and creativity and joy for your art. It can also be helpful to do something that's creative and fun, but not something you take seriously. So that will be different for every person. Maybe it's painting, dancing, singing, maybe it's playing an instrument, something that you do for the joy of it and not judging yourself on how well you do it, because this helps to set up your mind for creative work, creative play that is inspired and joyful instead of self-doubting and critical. Okay, boom, that's it. Those are my 4 focus hacks for staying dedicated to your project and not getting distracted, and also my best advice for building motivation. It's not very flashy or glamorous. A lot of times it just comes down to having grit, just having the perseverance to keep moving forward one step at a time. And deadlines can help, accountability partners can help, but most of all, it comes down to rewriting the definition of pain in your mind, telling yourself, if I don't do this, it will be more painful. I will be sorry if I don't do this now. Whether it's next week, next month, next year, you want to feel like you've made progress. You want to be able to look back on this day and feel proud of the decisions that you made. Feel proud of yourself for having the grit to persevere and to stay motivated. Now it's time for you to talk to me. Comment below this video and tell me what is the #1 thing that keeps you motivated to write your story. I'd love to hear about it. Smash that like button if you liked this video, and be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I post writing videos every single Wednesday and I would love to have you here in the community. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, because that's where we go beyond videos and take storytelling to the next level. The Patreon community is not only the best way to support what I'm doing here on YouTube, but it's also the only way to get exclusive bonus content like access to my private Discord community and also monthly live training sessions about a specific topic of writing and indie publishing. So go to patreon.com/AbbyEmmons to get access to all of that exclusive bonus content, and I hope to see you next week. Until then, rock on.
If you were to ask the question or think to yourself that someone else could be you better than you could.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no one else can be you except you. So naturally, you are the only one who can be you the best. And so the same way, just as you